Hello everyone, this is Tom Uren. I'm here with another Between Two Nerds discussion with Grugq. G'day Grugq, how are you?
G'day Tom, fine and yourself?
I'm well. This week's edition is brought to you by Nebuloc. I had a discussion with Nebuloc's CEO and founder Damien Lukey out on the podcast channel where we talked about how threat actors are using AI and how Damien is using AI to counter that. So you sent me this tweet. Scattered Spider's latest tactics, insider recruitment for network access.
Not sure that's the latest tactic, because I remember Lapsus was doing that years ago.
So there's this kind of a bit of a word salad. Scattered Spider has shifted from chaotic data leaks to a more organized cybercrime model, now actively recruiting insiders for initial network access. So it's got some...
I think that's, I don't know, it's like it hurts my head to try and untangle what they're attempting to say.
So they've got this key development section in the tweet. Insider outreach, offering staff up to 25% revenue for AD access and 10% for Okta Azure AWS root credentials.
I think there's a premium for Microsoft skills, I guess.
Is it a premium for Microsoft skills, or that if you get AD access, like that's 3/4 of the job done?
That's the entire job done, is
So I think this comes from Telegram channels. Mm-hmm. And one of the parts in there is we are not looking for data. We have it all already. We are looking for the employee to provide us a VPN or Citrix to the network or some kind of data access, basically, like access to the network.
Are there a lot of help desk people just hanging out on these Telegram channels, shooting this, and then it doesn't seem like a good place to advertise right there.
Yeah, my interpretation was it was outreach to the community, whatever community that Telegram channel is, saying, we're looking for these people. Do you know these people?
Are they going to be like access middlemen then? Like someone who's like, look, you can get up to 8% of the payout from...
I stumbled across this story yesterday, which is only slightly relevant, but it was a Chinese businessman hired a hitman to eliminate a rival. And he hired him for, I think it was $250,000. And so the story is that hitman then hired another hitman. And it went five layers deep.
Yeah, until there was someone who was getting paid so little, he just went to the cops.
Pretty much.
Like, someone's giving me $200 to go and kill someone. Screw these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Back to the tweet. I thought, okay, that sounds reasonable enough. But that's the sort of thing that only happens if you don't have any better alternative. Like, why bother getting an insider?
Why?
And so optimistic me, putting on my optimistic hat, was, okay, that tells us that security is actually getting better.
Yeah, it's now so good that they're forced to pay 25% of their ransom to insiders who give them access.
Yeah, I'm not convinced either.
I don't think that's true.
But the other thing that occurred to me is, for Scattered Spider, it seemed that hacking was a sport and not a job.
Yeah, it's sort of like a social. It's going down to the pub. It's not even a sport. It's hanging out with your friends and playing darts, and whoever wins or loses. Like, that's not necessarily the point of going down to the pub. Like, you're not there to play darts. You're there to hang with your friends and you play darts.
And
I think with
fun.
these guys, it's like you have a few beers, maybe you play some pool, you throw some darts, whatever. But you're there with your mates. I think that's sort of the same thing here, right? Like, you're stealing a few $1 million. It's like, whether you get it or not, like, whatever.
Yeah. Bloomberg had a story on Noah Urban, who seems like he was one of the key people in Scattered Spider. He's been jailed or sentenced to, I can't remember, decades in prison. And the story, Bloomberg talks about times when he's trying to socially engineer help desks. And it's essentially a group call where he's got a whole lot of people listening in laughing when he makes mistakes, and it's a social activity, not a
right,
like exactly as you
it's not
described.
it's a criminal enterprise in the loosest possible sense. It's a bunch of annoying teenagers being annoying. Rather than leaving flaming bags of poop on someone's doorstep, they're calling help desk and trying to get credentials.
Yeah, and but so it seems that to just get in contact with an insider and say, we'll give you 10%, that's not fun. There's not a communal activity, I think.
It's like playing darts in your garage by yourself instead of at the pub with your friends. Like you can still do the same activity, but you're missing the point in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of like fishing with dynamite instead of just fishing.
Right, with a case of beers and like a good mate, which is...
Yeah, so this struck me as the sort of thing that you might do if you wanted to be professional.
Yeah.
I think last week, maybe the week before, Joe Tidy, who's the cyber correspondent for the BBC, he wrote up this story about getting approached. I think he was approached on Signal by someone claiming to be a criminal who said, if you give us your log-on credentials and help us log on to the BBC, we'll give you, 10% of any ransom that we get?
Yeah. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Like it seems... Yeah. So that's kind of interesting, actually.
Offer 25% of the final.
Man, you could offer 150% of, like, I will pay you 150% of whatever I'm going to get if you just do the work for me, right? Yeah. Like it's, I promise I'll pay you. But, okay, so here's the interesting thing, right, so as you know, one of my areas of interest is like old-time professional thieves and stuff. This is exactly what they used to do. Right? Like they used to there's a lot of cases where having some helpful assistance was very, very useful. So, for example, if you were robbing a bank and someone came to you and said, hey, look, every Tuesday at 11:05 a.m., the truck comes to deposit $250,000 in cash. If you hit us then, you're guaranteed to get, whatever. They'd say, okay, we'll pay you 10% of that. Like whatever our take is, we'll pay you 10%. Like that was the standard insider fee payment, was 10%. And it's being mirrored here. Similarly, if you were running like a big con, like a big con shop, back then moving money was very difficult. Like you'd have your local bank in Sydney and there'd be a local bank in Adelaide. And what you'd have to do is call up, like you'd be in Adelaide getting scammed, and you'd call up your bank in Sydney and say, please transfer $20,000 to this bank so I can get the cash. And then the bank manager at that bank would have to sort of arrange with your local bank and get the cash sent over. So the thing is, if you're running a big con, you're taking people to get huge sums of money from this local bank all the time. And the bank manager is probably going to think it's a bit weird that the same 2 or 3 guys keep showing up with new out-of-towners to get like $50,000, $70,000, $20,000, multiple times a day. And they're probably going to go, this is hinky. Like, this is not right. Like, sir, you're being scammed. I'm going to call the police. We'll have these been arrested. I'll save you your money. So the way that they get around that is that, like, the criminals will basically take the bank manager aside and be like, look, we're running a business, it's sort of very cash flow heavy. As part of a goodwill gesture, we'll offer you 5% of whatever comes through. And if that doesn't work, they're willing to go up to 10%.
Right.
So it's sort of the same sort of ballpark thing. Of course, the funny thing about paying off an insider is that it means that the police have someone they can nab. Right. So if you go back to sort of like the bank robbery thing, you have 3 masked men who show up with foreign, with out-of-town accents who leave with the money. And then you've got the one clerk that shows up the next day in a brand new car. And, you're looking at this and the cops go like, well, fighting those guys is going to be hard. They've got guns and they're probably hardened criminals and they'll shoot it out. And this guy is so dumb that he just spent his money immediately. So let's get him. Similarly, when it came to like sentencing time, often the professional thieves would have a fixer who would make sure that like the judge is paid off or the police are paid off or a politician is paid off to make sure that the problem goes away. Yeah, like actually one of the ways that one of them did it was he had this huge bankroll in his pocket and he'd sit in front of the jury pool and he'd pull out the bankroll and he'd just start making eye contact and going, yeah. Yeah. And the first juror that would nod back at him, he'd tell his lawyer, wrap it up. The fix is in. So anyway, like the thing is that the judge would be like, they have to sentence someone because they've just let the real criminal off. Like the real criminal the case got fixed. But here's this local boy who didn't have a fixer, who did do a crime. So you throw the book at him to show that like, you're tough on crime, that you're doing your job well.
Justice has been served.
Right.
Yeah, I think that dynamic still applies here in the giving police someone to arrest who's like easy to find. I mean, I don't think it eliminates the risk entirely, but it probably helps a little bit. So in Joe Tidy's case, the person who contacted him claimed to be part of the Medusa gang, which I believe operates out of Russia. So they've got some other kind of protection in that they're just in a jurisdiction that's not amenable to law enforcement. Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at it from the police point of view as well, right? Like you can capture a 17-year-old in Uzbekistan and haul him before a judge and say, this is the kid that stole $25 million from BBC. Or you could get the guy in London who is old enough to actually serve time and throw him in jail instead. And it seems a hell of a lot easier. Although I guess, to be fair, a lot of these scattered spidered guys turned out to be from the UK anyway.
So Tidy talks about that Medusa, whoever's contacting him, claims to be the only English-speaking person in the group. And so to me, that
seems like a
was
bit of a problem
contrast
for a ransomware group targeting the West.
Well, I guess Google Translate's probably good enough for many things.
For phishing, certainly. But you wouldn't be able to call up help desk and sort of chat GPT your way through it. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that makes sense to me. If you don't speak English, social engineering is probably not your jam. Certainly social engineering of English-speaking help desks is not your jam. And so that is why this story makes sense. And conversely, the opposite story of Scattered Spider trying to buy insider access didn't really make sense. Because where's the fun in that?
I mean, I think they would do it, but it would be done in the same sort of way. It wouldn't be like this Joe Tidy thing seems to me like it's a targeted campaign that's just sort of going through candidates one by one, maybe, or a few people at a time. Yeah, you're just doing that. Whereas I think that the Scattered Spider guys, when they were doing it, was much more of the call up help desk and be like, hey, how'd you like to make some real money? It was just a variation of the existing social dynamics that they had on that call. That sort of the same sort of plays that they were doing, the same of entertainment thing. It would just be like it didn't work pretending that we were unable to log in. Let's just offer them $10,000 because we've got several million, and that's
so that can still be a game, is what you're saying,
right?
Yeah,
yeah, but it's not going to be reaching out in private to one person and saying, hey, why don't you do this? Like that's
this call may be recorded for quality and coaching purposes. Hey, how would you like to earn some money?
This doesn't seem like a fun thing to do. Whereas I think that the calling out people and offering them money, you can find a game with that. Like you could still make it fun,
right?
If you're a teenager who enjoys that sort of thing, it's still a social activity.
Right. I actually think it might be less successful than just trying to, socially engineering them.
I mean, how do they pay these people? Like, if you're someone on help desk, you probably don't have your Bitcoin wallet handy.
Yeah. So in Joe Tidy's case, they offered to give him half a Bitcoin, which is about $55,000, he says, as a gesture of good faith. And I suppose if you're Medusa, actually that's like fine, I think. Like, you probably could justify $55,000 to each insider as a cost of doing business, regardless of whether you got a good ransom or not, because if it pays off, it'll pay off many.
It will more than pay off, right? Yeah,
and if it doesn't, then well, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a sales funnel. Like, if you have a promising client and they're they're down your sales funnel away, and you're a salesman, and it's a promising lead, they've got like a lot of budget, it's going to pay off really well for your business if they buy whatever. You're going to have budget to take them out to lunch. You're going to have budget to, like, buy them football tickets, right? There will be a sales budget allocated for you to do things to entice them to make the purchase. And I think it falls into the exact same category, right? I wonder if they've got expense accounts for the guys like it. Filling, syndicate, you haven't sent in your TPS report.
Yeah, so the thought that occurred to me is, okay, so Medusa, Russian, doesn't speak English that well, is buying or trying to buy insider access because they can't do social engineering. Now, why don't they just somehow get in touch with the Scattered Spider kids and say, you do the social engineering? The more I thought about it, the less it made sense, though.
Oh my! You couldn't pay me half a Bitcoin to hang out with the Scattered Spider kids.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the real problem, right? So,
right, like, oh my God, can you imagine having to work with those people? Right? Like, it's a bunch of edgy teenagers who are very online, right? They're like the worst kind of humans you can imagine in every way. Plus, they're teenagers. Like, it's like.
Yeah, so you get this strong sense that the Medusa gang, they're, air quotes, professional cyber criminals. Like, there's this guy, he's trying to move Joe Tidy down the sales funnel. He's got milestones and key expected results, and I don't know, he's probably got a family he wants to get back to, or at least a yacht.
But exactly. If you're doing this as a business, like if you're trying to make money, you're probably showing up, you're doing your 8 hours, your 12 hours, whatever it is, and then you're done and you go and do something else, right? But if you're Scattered Spider, your business and your life is the exact same thing, right?
Yeah,
like you're
your
spending your
motivations.
entire day hanging on this Discord chat and just talking shit and sometimes making phone calls. Like, it's... Here you are, you're the Medusa rep sent to go and, liaise with Scattered Spider. And after 12 hours of dick jokes, one of them finally decides to try and call someone, and it doesn't go through, and they go, oh, well, we'll try again tomorrow. Right? Like that, but forever. Just on. I mean, intermixed with things like they decide to start harassing someone instead of actually doing work, where they're like, hey, we found the address of one of our rivals. Let's send pizza to his house. Or like a plumber. Like, that'll be funny. They just do all the stuff that's just, it's not revenue generating. I guess if you do have that skill set, though, like if you had access to Scattered Spider and you had like the ruthless business mind of a proper criminal,
right?
Like, you could probably clean up. Like, they're very effective at what they do.
Well, I mean, they have cleaned up. I think the story was $100 million in ransom or something like that. The group overall over time, but it's just that they seem to not have any purpose.
That they don't take it seriously, I think, which I guess should actually be a massive indictment of security as it is. Like, a bunch of people with deep voices as their skill set. Like,
is there, yeah.
like that's their core competency, is like the one guy that sounds like an adult. Right. And they speak English, which, there's a fair few people, like a lot of people can claim that. But despite them just sort of dicking around and doing this for shits and giggles when the mood takes them, they still made $100 million.
I was thinking that the Scattered Spider kids have gone the other way in that they've used ransomware as a service gangs. But that seems like let's grab this tool.
Yeah,
because it adds to what we can do. It's additive rather than replacing the fun with something else that is not fun.
Yeah, and coding a ransomware tool is probably not as much fun as calling people up and lying to them in a group chat. Like it's...
Yeah.
Dealing with compiler errors and being caught by an EDR and trying to find new evasion techniques, like that seems to me like that's fun for a certain type of person, but probably not the same type of person that is going to spend 16 hours on Discord making very offensive jokes and trying to scam people. Like there's probably the Venn diagram is two separate circles.
So I guess what we see then is that Russian ransomware crews have the business nous and the, I guess, professionalism, for lack of a better word. They're driven by the money.
They're
and
financially
money makes
motivated.
it a job.
Right.
And then because it's a job, you want to do it efficiently and get to where you
want to do the bare minimum to get the maximum payout. Yeah. Right.
Whereas with the Scattered Spider kids, it's the opposite. It's like the journey is the destination, and the money is just a side effect of having fun online.
Yes, very much. So,
and so I guess we can expect never to see the Kaiser Soze of Scattered Spider, because
Kaiser Spider.
They're not out to make money. They're just out to have fun. And so everything is a side effect of chaos.
Right. It's part of keeping score of it's exactly like keeping score in darts in a way. Like who made the most money out of scamming is, remember when, Jake got a triple bullseye that one time. That was pretty amazing. Like I think in a way calling Scattered Spider a financially motivated threat actor is a complete misnomer.
Right.
Right. Like they're a shits and giggles motivated threat actor that happens to make a lot of money. Like they're a around and find out threat actor who doesn't have a find out phase most of the time.
There you go. Entire new category of threat actor. Thanks a lot, Grugq.
Thanks a lot, Tom.